To determine whether we have parallel or perpendicular lines, we need to look at the slope. So we need to have these in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to put these equations into slope-intercept form. So the first one, I'm going to move the x over. So I'm going to have a negative 2y equals a minus x plus 2. And then I have to divide everything by negative 2. By doing that, I now have y equals 1/2 x, because there's a 1 and the negatives cancel, minus 1. So I have a slope of 1/2. If I take and do the second one, I'm going to do that one in blue here, do the same exact thing. I'm going to move the 2x over, so I'm going to have a negative 4y equals a negative 2x plus 3. And I'm going to divide everything by negative 4, negative 4, negative 4. And when I do that, I end up with y equals a 1/2 x and a minus 3/4. It doesn't matter what this number is, it only matters what this number is. And since they are exactly the same, if you look, these two lines are parallel. Now let's do the same thing over here. I'm going to take and move the 2x over, but I have a negative in front of the y, so I'm going to have a negative 2x minus 1. And when I divide everything by negative 1, because I have to get the y by itself, I'm going to get a 2x plus 1. So now I'm going to do the second one the same way. I'm going to move the x over, so I have a 2y equals a minus x minus 6. I'm going to divide everything by 2. When I divide everything by 2, I'm going to get y equals a negative 1/2 x minus 3. Now when I look at these, I have this and I have this, and when they are opposite, that means opposite signs, and an inverse, that means the 2 is flipped over to 1/2, we have what's called perpendicular. So these two lines are perpendicular and these two lines on the other side are parallel. So now we're going to model, so we're going to look at this word problem, and it asks for two, we want to create it, use the 2 points on the high school one, so we're going to use this one to write an equation. So we need to find the slope and the intercept. So we're going to find the slope of this equation. So that's, I'm going to take my y coordinates over my y coordinate and my x coordinate and subtract my x coordinate. When I do that, I'm going to get 45 over 50. So I get 45 over 50, or 0.9. So my slope, m, equals 0.9. So now I'm going to do and find my intercept. My intercept is where it crosses the y-axis, which happens to cross at 42. So my y-intercept is 42. So my equation that I'm going to write for A is going to be y equals my slope 0.9x plus 42, because that's the intercept. Now, if I look at B, it says use this for the 2020. So if I go 2020, which is 60 years past 1960, so my equation will be y equals 0.9, 60 goes in for the x plus 42, and when I do the math in your calculator, you're going to end up with 96. So the percentage rate of high school graduates in 2020 will be 96%. And so that will be the answer to B.